Kovacs, and I'm the founder of FemPower Health. And today we're going to talk about women's health and AI. So, the illusion of progress, artificial intelligence promises to revolutionize women's healthcare, offering better diagnostics, faster treatments, and more personalized care. But here's the reality: AI is learning from a broken system. So, if the data behind AI is incomplete or biased, it won't fix women's health. It will reinforce the very problems that we've been trying to solve. So, at its core, AI reflects and amplifies systemic bias. And for decades, women have been left out of research, misdiagnosed, and dismissed in medical settings. So, let's start with heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in women, yet AI models trained on male-centric data fail to recognize women's symptoms. And in fact, women are 50% more likely to be misdiagnosed after a heart attack and 50% more likely to die within a year. Now let's talk about bacterial vaginosis and machine learning. So bacterial vaginosis performs, or machine learning for bacterial vaginosis performs worse for Asian and Hispanic women, proving that AI is only as accurate as the biased data that it's fed. And then we talk about clinical trials. So women were not mandated to partake in clinical trials until 1993, thank you to Bernadette Healy, the first female head of the NIH. But even today, only 1/3 of studies analyze data by sex. So if AI isn't trained with diverse sex-specific data, it will scale these blind spots into the future. So the issue, again, it's not the AI itself, it's that the foundation of the data is fundamentally flawed. So now we have a hidden barrier: the reimbursement and financial incentives. So even the best technology won't change healthcare if the financial incentives remain broken. So let's take a look at hysterectomies. It is one of the most frequently performed surgeries in the United States, despite ACOG, which is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, state that it should not be the default treatment. Yet insurance often makes it easier to get reimbursed for a surgery than for less invasive options like pelvic physical therapy or hormone therapy. So menopause care is another example. Only 30% of medical schools teach menopause, and the reimbursement models still don't support proper training or treatment. And even within hysterectomy procedures, reimbursement tends to not align with best medical practice. So for example, minimally invasive laparoscopic hysterectomy rates have dropped, not because they're not safer, but because reimbursement favors other approaches. So if AI is layered on top of this broken system, it won't drive better care. It will optimize what gets reimbursed, not what's best for patients. So let's take a real world example. So menopause is quite hot these days. I'm sure you've seen everything in the press about it. And we've seen what happens when bad data and poor policy shape women's healthcare. So let's backtrack to why we are where we are with menopause. In 2002, the Women's Health Initiative study misrepresented the risks of hormone therapy, sparking fear amongst doctors and patients. Now, it wasn't necessarily the data itself, it was how it was analyzed and all the repercussions after that because of the press going wild with this information. And so, as I mentioned before, medical schools stopped teaching menopause, and today only 30% of the med schools do include it in their curriculum. But as a result, doctors stopped prescribing hormone therapy even when it was the right treatment. So what happened as a result of this? Millions of women suffered from very preventable issues like osteoporosis, brain fog, and cardiovascular disease. And remember that being the number one cause of death in women? Not good. So a generation of women was left untreated, not because the care wasn't there, but because the system failed them. So now imagine AI being built on this flawed data, outdated research, and broken reimbursement policies. So if we don't fix these issues first, AI will reinforce decades of harm, not solve it. But there's hope. So how can AI transform women's health? This isn't just about problems, because there's real hope if we really get this right. So now let's imagine a future where clinical trials, FDA approvals, medical guidelines, and reimbursement align seamlessly, where AI accelerates progress, not by scaling old biases, but by leveraging high-quality inclusive data to drive faster and more accurate decision making. And where conditions like endometriosis, which is something I also have, where women now wait 7 to 10 years for diagnosis, mine was 4, are identified in months, not a decade. And where the 17-year gap between clinical research and medical practice collapses into months, ensuring breakthrough discoveries that reach patients sooner. That's the future AI can help create, but only if we fix the foundation first. So if the data is incomplete, AI will scale those gaps. If reimbursement rewards outdated interventions, AI will optimize for the wrong things. And if clinical trials still exclude women or fail to analyze data by sex, AI will reinforce medical blind spots. So what's the call to action here? The good news is this isn't inevitable. We can fix it, but we must demand better data. AI models cannot be built on incomplete research. Sex-specific data and diverse clinical trials must be standard, not optional. And we must invest in women's health as an economic and public health priority, not just fertility and menopause, but Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disease, cardiovascular health, and beyond. We must ensure AI-driven healthcare aligns with reimbursement and real-world clinical practice. If doctors cannot get reimbursed for treatments AI recommends, the system still fails. Technology, it is a tool, not a solution. The future of healthcare must be built with women in mind, because if we don't change course now, the next generation will face the same barriers, only harder to challenge. Thank you.